Hey, what's up, guys? It's Patrick. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's not quite after work yet. I'm recording in the middle of my day instead of at the end. Not really in the middle, it's kind of close to the end. But I've got this long 40-minute drive to my next visit, so I thought I would use my time well and just kind of ramble for a little bit on the way. I had a very exciting morning this morning. I met with one of my nursing supervisors and the nurse that I'm going to be sharing a caseload with, and we went over like how we were going to divide the labor and stuff like that. And so I'm going to be seeing the patients on that caseload on Thursday and Friday, and the other nurse is going to email me which patients need to be seen and a little report about them and stuff. And then at the end of the week, I'm going to update something called the PIOs, which I think stand for like Plan, Intervention, and Outcome, maybe? PIO, Plan, Intervention, Outcome. I think that might be it. But it's just sort of like a little administrative task where we evaluate the goals and, you know, indicate whether or not they're currently being managed with the number and the scopes of the disciplines involved and things like that, and write little blurbs on, you know, whether or not this, that, or the other thing was assessed. And so that was pretty exciting. And then the other exciting thing was one of my supervisors sent me an email while I was out on the road asking me if I would like to teach one of the modules of our core curriculum class, you know, which I said it would be a great honor, and of course I would do it and all this stuff, you know, because it is. Our core curriculum is sort of like a little seminar that we do every year where we invite nurses from other facilities that we have relationships with to come and attend, and some of the nurses, you know, or not all of them are nurses. Like the nurses and the social workers and the chaplain will give talks ranging from like an hour to an hour and a half or so about different topics, you know, that are relevant to their specialties. And so this will be a lot of fun after the talk I gave at the nursing home. I uploaded the video on YouTube, you can look it up. I enjoyed that a lot. That one was on ethical considerations in end-of-life care, so it was mainly about ethics. And this next one that I'm going to do for the core curriculum is about pain, which is great because pain was the one thing I decided I didn't have enough time in the half-hour nursing home talk to really cover or do any justice to, you know, to the subject, because it's, you know, a complex subject that deserves some time to itself. And instead of the half hour that I was given at the nursing home by change of shift, I'm getting an entire hour to talk about the subject to a room full of people that have nowhere else to be for a few hours, you know. I think it's, I don't remember what it was last year when I attended, but it was, you know, I think pain was like the second or third out of 5 or 6 lectures. So I'll get the crowd when they've warmed up a little bit and they're not, you know, they haven't been there that long, but they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So that'll be neat. There's going to be nursing students there. There's going to be nurses from the hospitals. So this will be a good opportunity to network. So I'm going to have to really put some thought into this. They've already got PowerPoints made up for me already. Hopefully I'll be able to go through them and reorganize them, because I loathe PowerPoints, but if I have to use them, I'm going to apply some of the more recent, you know, thinking and some of the more recent articles in cognitive psychology about how to use PowerPoint presentations to inform rather than bore the hell out of your audience. So I'll be doing a little meta research on that, and you know, maybe I'll have some of my own research to add to the content, which will always be nice. And of course, you know, I'll discuss the some of the ethical and the moral implications of pain management and end-of-life care, you know, obviously, because why not? So those were 2 very exciting things that happened today. That's nice. I'm going to try to swing by the office later on today and see if I can catch the human resources director and talk about benefits and stuff. I ran the pamphlet on the benefits. I think I mentioned this already, but I ran the benefits pamphlet past a couple of people who know more about health insurance than I do, because I don't think I've ever had it. And they said it was a good deal. So, good deal. Free preventative care. Oh yes, I did talk about that. Free preventative care. We'll see how much I can stretch this. It's like, oh, I think I need all of these very expensive studies. Hook me up. See what they say. Maybe I can come up with some exotic ones. It's like, yes, I need positron emission tomography of my pineal glands, please. See what they say to that. I wonder what that would be like. Jeez. So I started off with 4 visits today, but then they gave one of mine to somebody else who didn't have enough visits. And it was kind of an awkward phone conversation because I misunderstood like the purpose of the call. Like, I thought it was because they thought that I had too many visits and somebody was going to relieve me of one. I'm like, oh no, that's okay, I can do all 4, that's not a big deal. But the real purpose of the call was that the person calling didn't have enough visits and they needed another one. So I would have given it up more readily if I'd understood that off the bat, but I tend to be a little obtuse when it comes to those kinds of things. So I had a really interesting chat with the only other male nurse at my agency about all of the paperwork that the primary care nurses have to do, like above and beyond all the paperwork that I have to do, which is considerable still. And I guess there's like special forms that have to be filled out for the interdisciplinary team meetings and all those PIOs, and then there's these things called OASIS, which is specific to our regular Medicare patients that we don't have to do on our Medicare hospice patients. And it's a fairly complicated form. You have to evaluate a lot of interconnected things regarding the state of the person. You have to fill out these questionnaires about any hospital admissions they had in the last 14 days. And it really reminded me of the minimum data set that you have to do in nursing homes and in other places, I would imagine. So it's almost like the minimum data set tasks are distributed between all of the primary care nurses rather than having a dedicated minimum data set nurse. But those forms can get really long and tedious. I have to do them on admission if I admit somebody to regular Medicare instead of Medicare hospice benefit. And it's a lot of stuff. It has like questions about the, you know, everything from the sanitation and the repair of the house to, you know, details about all their diagnoses and their medical histories and stuff like that. It gets pretty intense. So he was kind of going over some of that stuff with me to prepare me for, you know, what was going on. And it feels good to be kind of, I feel like, you know, people are taking me under their wing and, you know, kind of investing in me a little bit, you know, so that's always nice to see. It sounds like I'll be working Saturday and Sundays too, but whatever, it's fine. I'm so hungry right now. I'm gonna try to stop at Wendy's and maybe swing by the office and see what's happening there. I've been getting a lot of good feedback about the shaven look, you know, because I've had that beard for a while. I keep telling people that it's so I can keep the dementia patients on their toes by changing my appearance up every few months. Some people find that funny and some people don't, but I guess that's just how it goes. I heard an interesting quote on the radio the other day. I forget who it was or what channel it was on, but it was something like a comedian is a person who has a grievance, and that I guess the idea was that by making jokes about things you kind of relieve your own frustration about the grievances that you have, or a comedian is a man with a grievance, something like that. Maybe that's why people find me so funny all the time. I'm reacting to my own grievances, or maybe reacting to my own grief. So I'm 2 days into a 5-day stretch. I think I'm working this Sunday too, so Saturday will be my day off. I don't think I have anything planned on Saturday. I'll have to do something fun. Like sit around and read books all day. That would be fun. I haven't really done anything too interesting clinically so far today. I did have one patient that was having a very difficult time with bowel movements, and it's been sort of like a day-to-day follow-up thing, you know, try this, try that, and I happened to be in the area when their family member called in, so I just, you know, I was able to swing by almost immediately after they called, which is kind of nice because they're like 40 minutes away. I'm, you know, in my 40-minute drive back now, you know, after that, and it's kind of neat to be able to play with people's expectations like that. That I had, you know, suddenly teleported across the county to be at the bedside. It's kind of funny. So I'm already pretty familiar with most of the patients on this caseload that I'm picking up. I admitted maybe half of them. Maybe not half of them, but I admitted maybe a third of them. So I already know them, and just over the course of my shifts as a per diem, I've gotten a chance to see them all once or twice anyway. It's going to be interesting shifting from being per diem to managing a caseload, although I'm not going to be doing that all week. You know, the rest of the week I can still pick up shifts floating and doing different, like, random things or whatever. You know, as a per diem, I might have to see any of the patients on our census, which might be like anywhere between 80 to 100 people, maybe 110 if we're really busy. So I don't know if I'm going to see somebody that I've seen before, or somebody that I've never seen before, or somebody who has not been seen before by anyone but the admitting nurse. So the situations that I walk into are very diverse, and the needs of the patients and the families are very diverse. You know, I end up doing a lot of teaching because they still might be new to our service and still haven't, like, received all the education that they need. So every once in a while I'll get a comment or a compliment that takes me by surprise, because to me it doesn't seem unusual. You know, some people are like, oh, you did a great job by walking into that really complex case. And to me it didn't seem any more complex than any of the other cases, because I'm figuring them all out as I go anyway. The thing that I like about that is that it forces me to be really thorough and systematic, which is exactly what they taught me how to do in school. So I feel like I'm really keeping up my assessment skills and my critical thinking skills, and, you know, all that good training that I got as a nurse. And as much as I enjoy what I'm doing now, what I'm kind of afraid of a little bit is that the longer that I spend doing one thing, the more my future employers are going to perceive that I'm specialized in that one thing. And especially with hospitals seem really snooty about this kind of thing. Like, oh, you're in home care, you've been doing home care for the last 10 years? Well, you'd be so far behind that we would have to spend too much money to catch you up on how it really works, you know. But, I mean, to my mind, the core skills and the techniques are the same, no matter what, you know, part of nursing that you're working in. I mean, the important things are having good assessment skills and being able to talk to patients and being able to manage families and stuff like that, and to understand disease processes and trajectories. The individual techniques don't seem that important because it's not hard to learn them. I mean, you can teach them to technicians that don't have any training. They could be taught to somebody without any training by rote, you know, but the whole point of having nurses is that we're not technicians that are just trained to do techniques. We're trained to understand the anatomy and the physiology, and to think creatively and critically about what's going on, you know, be able to think on our feet and stuff like that. So, whatever. I know I've said all along that I don't want to be specialized in anything, but you know, I think what I'm doing now is worth spending, you know, another year or two on at least. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Things might change once I get my master's. Well, I mean, things will definitely change once I get my master's. You know, I'll have to work my way into some role where instead of getting paid $30 an hour, I'm getting paid $50 or $60 an hour, which I'm looking forward to that. That should be nice. I don't expect too much of an increase in my pay once I get a bachelor's degree. Around here, it's only like maybe a 25-cent per hour difference in pay. I don't really care too much about the bachelor's degree anyway, and I'm still, you know, pretty miffed that they're making me jump through those hoops in the first place. I've really got to talk to my academic advisor and run that stuff by her about, you know, maybe I should just retake microbiology instead of taking all these ridiculous Western Civ classes and BS like that. I'm kind of afraid to open my college email right now because of that strongly worded letter I sent my Western Civ teacher, who docked me a couple of points on one of my assignments because of instructions that she referred to that were never there in the first place. We'll have to see how that goes, but, you know, what I tell myself when I get slightly worried about it is, what's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that I could get kicked out of school for talking back to a teacher. Not talking back to a teacher, but for sending a strongly worded letter to a teacher. You know, if that's the way that it works, you know, that's fine. I mean, that would be a good excuse to, you know, look for another program that will overlook the fact that my GPA at community college was 3.17 instead of 3.2, which this school couldn't seem to get past. But maybe this will be a way to open a dialogue about what these kinds of concerns are. That I'm taking these classes that are so easy that they don't really tell anybody anything about my ability, because the homework that they told me would take 10 to 15 hours a week, I can dash off in 20 minutes at the bar, and get perfect scores on it. Well, except for this most recent assignment. But that wasn't, I followed the directions exactly. The teacher just said that there were directions that weren't there, namely to use quotations, which were in the directions of a previous assignment, but they were not in the syllabus. So if she expected us to apply those directions to every assignment, she should have put them in the syllabus or in every assignment. Either way would be logical. Oop, I'm gonna run this red light, and there's nothing you can do about it. Suckers! I love driving. I don't think I'd be able to survive in home care if I didn't like driving. Like going to far out places, and I've got NPR for company, and it would be a lot more fun if I had somebody coming with. I would jump at the chance to take a nursing student with me. Even a supervisor. I have to be like supervised, That's one of the things about home care. I'm working out of the office, so they got to find times to actually send a supervisor out with me. And there's a ton of stuff for them to do in the office as it is. I mean, they're kind of directing traffic, they're handling a bunch of complex stuff at once. So for them to find time to personally come out with one of us on a visit takes some planning and doing and scheduling, and it's something that as supervisors they're very good at. So it's nice to work with them. And it's nice to have people to call for advice too. I just had to call one of my supervisors for advice about the gentleman who was having difficulty moving his bowels, and whenever there's something that I think is high risk, I'm always the first to call and ask for the opinion of a more experienced nurse. And I tend to form a lot of my opinions about those people based on the advice that they give me, or how seriously they take the fact that I'm asking them for advice. And one of the things I like about this agency, and has caused me to stay here for a year so far, is that the people that I'm working with are very good in that way, and they're very supportive and very knowledgeable and very understanding. It wasn't like that in the nursing home at first when I was working my way up to supervising, which I did for a good 2 years or so. But yeah, the slackers that they put in charge of me for that first period of time were just unbelievable. I don't know where they found those people, because they really didn't seem like they knew a whole lot, and I was a new grad at the time, so I would very seriously ask for their guidance and their advice on things, and they were things that I was pretty sure I had the answer to, but I wanted to run it by someone else because of the risk. And what I would find out invariably was that I knew much more about it than they did, which was kind of disheartening, because one of the things you look for as a new grad is older nurses to teach you things. And there were one or two people at the nursing home that I did, as far as nurses go, I learned a lot from the nurses' aides, and I learned a lot from the LPNs, but there was really only one or two, maybe three RNs that I looked up to and I thought were really with it. But they came and went like a revolving door, and then eventually so did the LPNs. It was chaos. Pure chaos. All the people who had been there the longest and knew the most about how to make the unit run smoothly just got weeded out one by one. I just pulled up to a Wendy's right now, in case you were curious. I gotta get some lunch. My next visit is in... Oh, it's only in half an hour. I've only got a half an hour. So that's good. 15 minutes to eat lunch and 15 minutes to drive to my next visit. And that'll give me time to swing by the Human Resources office besides. I think I'm just gonna leave this running while I order food, because I just think that's funny to do. I always wonder at the people that I see in front of me at line at fast food places like Wendy's and what have you, because it seems like ordering food is very complicated for them. Like, they have to have like a long dialogue with the person at the other end of the radio. I mean, you can probably tell by looking, but this car has been stopped for a while, and this whole time, the two people in the car in front of me are like negotiating their order. I don't know if they're haggling or something, or if they're asking questions about like what kind of allergens might be in the food. That's a possibility. Wow, now the person on the radio has been talking for a long time. Maybe they're bawling them out. So I went to that Secret Chiefs 3 show in Milford on Saturday, and I think maybe the best thing about it was that hardly anybody else that I know knows who the Secret Chiefs 3 is. So when I came back from the show, nobody was like, "Oh, hey, how was that Secret Chiefs 3 show?" You know, nobody mentioned anything to me. I kind of like that. It was like it was secret. And it was pretty neat. I was disappointed they didn't have any large t-shirts, though. They only had medium t-shirts, which in this day and age in this country seems unconscionable. Hopefully next time they'll get more large t-shirts and less medium ones. Oh, now they start moving. Wow, how long was that? That was a good couple of minutes. Alright, hang on a second.
Hey, I'm here right with you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can I have a number 8 home style large fries bottled water?
So that was fast. Did I complete your order today?
Yes.
Okay, your total is going to be $9.12. Thank you.
Thanks. See, that is how you do it. Now this is something I don't understand. Why do they keep asking me to pull up and they're going to bring the food out to me later? I don't understand this. I wonder if it has something to do with maybe automatic ways of detecting how fast each car gets served. Maybe they're gaming their numbers a little bit. They do this to me at Dunkin' Donuts too, and it irritates the hell out of me. One of these days I'm going to just say no. See how that goes. Thanks. Alright, well that wasn't so bad. That only ate up several minutes of my time. I'm kind of on the fence now whether I should go back to the office or just start heading to my next visit. Yeah, I'll sit down in the office and have some lunch. I do enjoy eating with my coworkers. It's a pleasure that I'm very rarely afforded nowadays. There's something very collegial about it, or I don't know. I would say fraternal, except I'm probably the only man in the building. That's not true. The community development, some of the community development, the finance folks are men. But yeah, I mean, for the last year or so, it's something that I haven't really had many opportunities to do. Even working at the nursing home, I mean, it was rare that I'd get enough time to sit down and eat anyway. But yeah, it's nice being able to sit down and eat with your coworkers and just chat about whatever, little coworker bonding. I don't get enough of that working out of my car all the time. Maybe that'll change once I'm working regular shifts. But I really have to, be better at budgeting more time in my day to sit down and eat in the middle of the day. Because I just, run off of my Dunkin' Donuts breakfast until dinner time, which really can't be good for me. And I always end up making up for it by eating late at night, like at 10 or 11, which of course keeps me up until 1 or 2, which is not a good thing if you have to be at work at 8 in the morning. But it takes me a while to establish rhythms like that, especially when I'm doing overnight shifts sometimes. Alright, well, I'm back at the office, so we'll pick this up later.